Hello. It's Monday. Are we ready to continue our investigation into not Madame Tussauds, Madame Tussauds something else, huh? Nice hat, huh? I need to get my haircut, huh? Getting a bit long. And also need to shave. I realize this. A game came out today, by the way. So, the document that I use to keep track of all my stream games to play is on my old PC, and I haven't transferred it across yet. So I've lost all my planning. A game came out today that I've spoken about that I was looking forward to called Potionomics. A deck building shopkeeper game on Steam. And I have no spots for it in the schedule. I'm like, no! Shit! So I'll probably play that some stage in the future. I got an email from Steam today that came out and I was like, completely forgot. Well, we'll play at some stage. Madame Two Spells, huh? Let's go. The problem is like hooking my old PC up just to grab a fucking document. It's like, ugh. I guess. A cat cafe management game? Oh, that's pretty good. Alright, so we've just entered here now. We haven't talked to anyone yet or investigated anything. We know Sholmes is here. We know these two gentlemen are here. So let's get going, huh? Oh, just a dead body or something? Is this an arm? Oh yeah, Iris and her really cute getup. He looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork models has fallen over. You don't think it could be the work of the mass murderers in here, do you? Bruno, stop scaring me. Is it a wax arm or a real one? Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels. Objection! What's the sign say? That big heavy curtain's in a very prominent position, isn't it? No worries, bro. I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something truly terrifying behind it. Oh yes, that's the famous Two Spells special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want to pay the extra fee and have a look? Pay more money? To be even more terrified? Oh, let me think about that for a moment. It's only a suggestion. I'm sorry, Iris. Where's Sholmes at? Is this some infamous murder? Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All her victims were young women. Oh. No Jack the Ripper in this universe, I knew it. You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer. Well, yes. Oh! What's the matter, Bruno? I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore. Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. Doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry. I don't think it's significant. I still think it has to be there for a reason. I think there was also an exhibit that looked like Jack the Ripper though, but I guess not. This is modern feminism. Yeah, this one. This is Jack the Ripper, isn't it? It has to be. And Sholmes, of course. Oh, was there two of them? Remember Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler? How's it like that? Oh, is this an example of Western Sujigiri? I don't know what that is. You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword? I still don't know, no. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Bruno? Doing that Sujirigi thing you mentioned? Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. Has to be Jack the Ripper, right? It's... That's not what I was examining. The great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here, really? That what it says in the sign? Well, he is world famous after all. It's an uncanny resemblance, doesn't it? Makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know. But look, Reno, you can kick this Hurley and it doesn't move a muscle. You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Wait. It just moved, I'm sure. Not just a little bit either. Really? Did it? Look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look. There's a great murder scene to enjoy, much more appealing. Oh, here you go. My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you'd seen something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes. I knew it. Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? And that kick. Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me. But Reno has something he needs to ask you. Ah, a question. And I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are. Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationed like that, and my great brain upon which all my success has been built would have turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? He could know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zieks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For you're in luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now. But how could it be? These lads. We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow, but for now I must return to my work. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Can we even speak to him? What is this place? Okay, there we go. Madame Two Spells came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actually real people, are they? The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Two Spells family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine. Oh, that sounds grim. The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the side of the executions. That really turns my stomach. That's just one of several legends about the Two Spells family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the great exhibition. But people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So they're even stiffer now than the models of them. Ha 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 ha! Have you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So, the hideous exhibits in here are... they're all portrayals of real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? Temporary waxwork. What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of these displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the Waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money. He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent. And I have the ravenous iris to consider. Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry. If push comes to shove, I shall ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo. What's he threatened to rope me into now? He roped me into this. So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Still for a shilling, though. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Naruhodo, exhort me at your peril. Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound a lot like a curse? Something to ask you. Is it about Van Zieks, is it? Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zieks. Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust. And thus we explained the events of the meeting. And so I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learned. About Lord Van Zieks, about Professor Harebrain, and about the strange coincidence that they had been at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zieks such a different person. I was sure that you know Hurley. You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before. That something was afoot. And that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. He's very quiet. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've reached the unavoidable... Greetings? Who's that, sir? Oh, hello? Where'd she appear from? What's she wearing? Can she look any more mysterious? What's going on here? Chat, I'm intrigued. Oh, this is Madame Two-Spell, isn't it? I hope you are appreciating my museum. Sorry, have we... Favorite character? Done dusted, I think. Mr. Sholmes, you know this. Not again. My apologies, I'm Esmeralda Two-Spells. This is my museum of waxwork. What? You're the Madame Two-Spells? She would be, yeah, she is French, isn't she? Oh, fuck her. Just hope Lemon never appears on here. We'll be fine. I'm just thinking of, like, Widowmaker in my head. I can't do it. What? How do you even say this part? Bien sûr? Bien sûr. They're only 26 years young, I might add. She's Widowmaker, hey? Is that significant somehow? 26, hey? That's my age, hey? Chat? What do you think, Noodle? Do you have a chance, hey? I'm a madam in name only. It adds a certain Je ne sais quoi. That one I do know. I know what do you think? Do you have a chance? Right. Twitch is not loading very properly. Maybe a bit edgy for me. Oh. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks. Or rather, one waxwork in particular. That'll be Mr. Sholmes then. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. Get up, Sholmes! You sound deadly serious. That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zieks now? Let's not forget what Hurley said before. About something being afoot right here in the museum, I mean. Yes, I know, but I'm still curious. I want to know what's happening here. Haven't we got enough on our plate already? The waxworks. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tispel? I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know. Gosh! It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. So that is when she acquired this Savoy Fair. Led to the astonishing lifelikeness. All these waxwork really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. Hehe. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modelled, in the hours immediately following their executions. That is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying? Do not fear. Sorry? This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope. It was Irish who dragged me straight in there, in here, come to think of it. Sorry. Perhaps I should have eased you into things. She knows what she wants, Sam. You're doing a better act than the ones in Valhalla. What's that in the Paris DLC, is it? That's just the Animus. Hey, Animus, fucking up. That's what I'll say. I don't claim to be good at accents. In fact, they're fucking atrocious, but as long as the differentiate between the character, that's alright. The ones in... I can't remember the ones in Valhalla. The Great Detective Waxwork. Why is Sholmes here, huh? Is he getting paid? My bad fucking hat here, huh? It's ironic as well, because Ubisoft is fucking French. He's like a stray cat. What's the situation with that? Ah, my temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see. It's a business proposal. Oh, what sort of proposal? My dear madam, what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. Or words to that effect. Ah. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective. It's a great detective, actually. He's very specific about it. Yes, c'est crème de la crème. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms. Let me guess. Someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services? For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment. What are you gonna do with it then? Or words to that effect. Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead. Chat, I'm in, huh? Favorite character. Confirmed, huh? Surely doesn't really need to do what he's doing though, does he? I would think not, but he was very insistent. I have a 50 shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning. What words to that effect? It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem. Is the consultant detective work not going so well? Something of it. What's up with these fuckers over here still as well? I haven't even talked to them yet. I wonder, could I ask you something?
Yes, sure.
Bien sûr, I guess. I'm just curious. Is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps? Some night at the museum shenanigans going on, do we have? Whoever suggested such a thing to you? Oh, well, it was... It's gone. Your temporary waxer over there, he mentioned it to me a little... Oh! He's disappeared. Oh god, is this a new character? There's the Sholmes again. We'll give it... ethnically ambiguous voice. And then it cuts over and it's like completely like non-matching. A wax model is a work of art. Not some tawdry object for trade. Ah! Oh, it's just Sholmes, okay. There you are. Leaving the exhibit again, we should be working. Do you wish to be melted down? My dear Madame Two Spells, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our idea about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police. Why ever not? She's turned as white as a sheet. She's pale already though. Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though please be aware that I prefer... No, I insist upon payment in advance. Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we? Uh-oh. Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. Are we going to do, one of the little spin around things with him? Let's go here. What, pray, is behind the curtain? That is a Two Spells special exhibit. There's another extra charge to see it. Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must depict a serial killer, a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Ah. Absolutely none. There's nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madam? What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? Ah! I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond, before the situation worsens. Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only as... a bit, I guess. Soupcon. What's that?
Soupçon.
Soupçon. Duolingo streams be damned. What the fuck? Number 139, Burger King foot lettuce. I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Two Spells special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however? Oh god, it's a person! It's a portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor. I genuinely thought it was a waxwork because of the white hand. Well, perhaps Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact. What? As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they're always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit. Why'd you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. Ah! Jukes as pale as candle wax. I don't understand. So, Madam Two Spells, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Let's go! The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Waxwork's fate. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madam Two Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice. Waxwork for sale? Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of £200. No! Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah! Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the £200. Hitting me money, hey? It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of £200. Only when he came to hand the money over, did it occur to him what an extortionate amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result? The scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in the special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. Oh, he's having a snooze, eh? Sold for cash. Topic 2. Waxwork location. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly... What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief, such as is worn by a policeman as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards. But next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork. Does like a tag on a scarf or something. Ah, but you... Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madam. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. It is a bit strange. Threepence. A tragically low price, you might say. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant £200. The sort of plucky behaviour that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madam? I do not... Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. Discovered already. Time for us to step in. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Aye. I see I've stunned you all into silence. You have, Hurley, you have. You've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot. If I could just bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow. According to your deduction then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So, that would mean that he's a particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it? The killer policeman, Ottermole. Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether. And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottermole. So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man is there supposed to be? Indeed. It is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well. But is £200 a lot of money for a wax model? It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages if that puts things in perspective. So it is quite a lot then. Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down. That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous. The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me. Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistant here, Iris, if that's alright. To make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deductions. Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Two Spells vents her anger. Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Two Spells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famous and great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Let's go. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright, the waxworks fit. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Two Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice. Is it though? She definitely looked in this direction, it's true. But I'm not sure she'd sell any for waxwork even for £200. Oh? She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything. For that much money I would, but it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well anyway, I wonder if the £200 could have some other significance. Let's follow that furtive glance again, see if there's anything else that could explain it. Oh. A note on the wall, huh? What's that? What's that note being pinned on the wall there? Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madam Two Spells, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is £200. Have the money ready by noon on the 23rd of October. What? This is... It's just like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped. Yes, it's a ransom note. The prisoner is the waxwork then. Ransom note.
Take that!
Boom. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that ransom note. Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness, abducting a waxwork. Ah, £200 is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it. The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have. In summary then, the £200 you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Here is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor. It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the £200. So if the waxwork is kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is? We could just ask him when he comes around. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris. Yes, you're right. Hurley's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Two Spells trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. Don't think she's trying to hide her hair. What the? This is just Madame Two Spells' right hand, isn't it? Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all. Oh, wait a minute. This is a left hand as well. Look. Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please. And it seems very stiff too. In fact, it's really hard. You mean made of wax? Waxwork hand.
Take that!
Boom. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow. How could you? The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that, in fact, it's a left hand. Ah! And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madam. It is the hand of a waxwork model. Ah! God. Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage. So you mean that arm? Yes. This gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir. No small keepsake. Reno's case face. Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I'm afraid I had to teach the man a lesson. You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result? The scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later. But for the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in the special exhibit has been kidnapped. the waxwork location. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that would change hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly... What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer we need only observe his neckerchief. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway. A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard. That Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away. Well, uncovering secrets is in any true detective's nature, of course. Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Two Spell's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps he might not have identified the man quite correctly. Oh! He's the one that she took the arm from. What the? Or the arm is being stolen from. The man has a stub sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be. Ah, well that settles that then. Right, this isn't a real person at all. The entire arm's been ripped off from the shoulder down. Fucking Autens, huh? His arm's been... Of course, that ties in with what we just found out.
Take that!
There we go. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub. No such boneless human walks this earth, of that I can assure you. Boneless. In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact, defying all odds, a waxwork model. I seem to remember it was you who decided he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally, what other explanation could there be? And it was this deductive's arm that was pulled out by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it? I'd try to steal a bit of a piece of a waxwork. Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. He's got it on his arm. He's got the yellow thing on his arm. I've been watching closely and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork. Ah, but you... Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madam. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. No, it's the yellow scarf around his arm. A killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known? It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Threepence isn't much money. Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Gardev's delightful lodgings, in fact. So this is a special killer taken from the special exhibit. Is it? The waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for £200? Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermole? Really? Perhaps we should have a good look around again, see if another idea crops up. Has to be the band on his arm, right? Oh, his leg's tapping as well. I don't believe it. It's a secret sign that other detectives know some criminal activity is underway. Yes, it's a slightly strange choice of outfit if he was trying to go unnoticed. Ah, he must be a detective disguised as a policeman. Or a detective disguised as a waxwork model of a policeman. He doesn't look like he's clever enough to think of something like that, though. Perhaps you should try to be a little more polite about him, Iris. His foot's also jiggling. Yeah. Look at this. The old man's tapping his foot like crazy. Like a rabbit. He seems to be fast asleep, though. He's tapping his foot consciously, then? So you mean... Must be a twitch. Mobile time? Okay. Never mind that. The point is, waxworks can tap their feet. Or twitch. Look at his arm, too. We've seen a scarf like that somewhere else around here, haven't we? I'll point at the switch, anyway.
Take that!
Because we're pointing out that he's not a waxwork. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxwork do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard. The scarf of that cold officer? Oh, from the first game. can't remember, honestly. The one who had, like, the really... Yeah. She kept, like, pulling his scarf. That's right. I look up. That was a good shot, actually. What was his name? He was in the olive green case, I think. Hmm. Can't remember his name. I don't want to see anything spoiler by chance as well, but he did have a scarf anyway, yeah, because she kept going like right, pulling it. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives then. And there you have it. Well, Madam Two Spells. Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence? No doubt the price tag of the muffler which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. And I presume you've observed the scarf tied around his arm? Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. The secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway. Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you did just from the very beginning, detective. So it would seem that we finally arrive at the truth. The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Waxwork theft. Still a mystery. Deduction complete. Elementary. Noise. I'll be right back, chatroom. Let me go check something 1 sec. I'll read out this line of dialogue in case me clicking to stop the stream like ruins it. All sorts of people pass visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Okay, we're good. Give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. I'm back. Whoops. There we go. Rolly, what you said his name was? Then I got him to see his scarf. Ugh. Ace Attorney Rolly. Hello. Ace Attorney Rolly. Yeah, it's yeah. Good shout there, everyone. Good shout. Huh? There it is. I did not remember. His character like slipped my brain. I didn't even remember. I wouldn't remember he had a scarf. I wouldn't even remember the color of the scarf. That's a deep pull, hey. That's a last year pull there. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I have been led to believe. It was a pleasure, my dear madam. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for your rough customer, I have no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerned me more is the waxwork from the special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically it was. And I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork, in as much detail as possible, if you please. Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. Big brain, Farrell, huh? Big brain, huh? Well done. Did you just remember the name as well, Farrell? That's a very deep pull, if so. The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish. The stolen waxwork. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that a waxwork is missing from the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then. So this waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose? Of a particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor. Not a name I've heard of. So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete. Sorry? The Professor case happened around the time I was born, didn't it? Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago. A series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes. At exactly the time that Barak van Ziek graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying. So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life? As you surmised. It was the Professor case. I heard the Van Ziek's music. Who was the Professor then? It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though of course, he happens to be absent at present, on account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zieks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest. Was the Professor Japanese, I wonder? Is that why Van Zieks has a big racism towards Japanese people? What do you mean, Hurley? Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Did they kill Van Ziek's parents, maybe? Uh-oh. Members of the nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration. Members of the... Ah, wait. Oh, sorry. Reno's game. Members of the... Ah, wait, of course. What Professor Harebrained said. Lord Van Ziek's from a family with noble blood. Oh, gosh. It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Clint Van Zieks. Van Zieks' dad, right? No. I don't believe it. Van Zieks? I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older... Oh, his brother. Okay. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Baroque pursued a career as a prosecutor. And eventually became the Reaper we know today. I have to assume the Reaper, or the Professor, was Japanese. Maybe that's why he hates Japanese people so much. I had no idea Lord Van Zieks has a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter. For the time being, at least. After all, I've work to do. As a Whackrick exhibit. No, they've implied he has something specifically against Japanese people. So I'm trying to think what it would be. I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Why am I out of 2 spells? Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analysing involve you coming to visit me here. Oh, man. It's been too long. It really has. I'm delighted to see you, Baroque. Forgot the accent already, huh? It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Esmond. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow, the court will decide. Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, so... It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it. I must warn you. Van Zieks is staring at... Look, he's staring at me. Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Baroque, are you really... What? Never mind. I know that you have my best interests at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Baroque. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court. That's kinda nice. To be continued. Save! I have to imagine we're still investigating because we haven't found enough to go to court yet. Trial part 1! Oh, Jesus. Well, here we go. 23rd of October, 8:52 AM. The Old Bailey Court. Defendant's antechamber. Keep again, there's no number after that. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in a court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo. Good morning, Professor Harebrained. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel it every time I'm here, that gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Yes, well. You won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial. To save my life. To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Who's this? Sholmes, okay. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. That was very mean, Runo. Leave me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Ah. Oh. Ah. Is it... Are you... Sherlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir. I am he. Sherlock Sholmes. Oh. I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Ah, yes. Rance magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This month's installment was sublime. Your deduction in the adventure of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall. No, that was a speckled band. That's the one they talked about in the first game. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh? I have urgent business at Madame Two Spells. You mean your waxwork job? No. The waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The week's wages depend on it, as does a safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh well, never mind then, I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Oh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely. I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Harebrain. Oh, right, thank you. Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel odd to inform you. As compelling as the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis might be, a practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he firmly believes it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree. But how could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now, I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Bye. Off he goes. Well, looks like you're on your own today, Runo. Chin up. You can do it. Oh, what about yours? No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. Hehe. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. What was Sylvester's ex called again? Jordana. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once. We're on our way. You asking for something or just like on the tip of your tongue and you can remember? An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Renosuke. That's the key to this case. October 23rd, 9:10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, new jurors. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. Tip your tongue. And Jordana Sparkburn. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. I'm 6 months out of practice. What's more, I'm without Sasato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well. Mr. Odie Asman. Mr. Asman was well known as a financier, so that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zieks. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on 21st of October, Mr. Asman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? What the fuck? What's like the least crazy Star Wars names you can remember? There was definitely some recently that are just like remarkably unremarkable. Looking for names like of least crazy. There was something in a book or a comic recently that was like really just like normal. I mean, Luke is pretty normal. Luke's just a name. Female names. Least crazy? Leia, Kira, Sienna, Aiden. I mean, they're all pretty out there. Padme, Brea, you know, they're all kind of Ahsoka, Barriss, and they're not Asajj, you know, they're not like most discreet time. Varnestra, Avar, Keeve. The female names are all generally very Star Warsy. Sana's not bad, yeah. Sana Staros, yeah. Avon is Avon's kind of weird. Sana's probably one of the most normal ones. Chelly, that's kind of like CHELLI for Afra. Still kind of it. Probably Sana, yeah. What about Lula? Nah. Afi? Oh, Orla. Orla Jurani. Orla's just an Irish name, but they spell it a little bit differently in Star Wars, but that's it. Or O-R-L-A. Is how Orla spelled in Star Wars. What voice am I giving this guy, huh? I am most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Do you have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand? Oh gosh, oh golly. It sends shivers down my spine. Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. Any spurious scholar that defies the reputation of science deserves to hang. We have to listen to what's said on both sides to the fence, and then settle on one. That's it, isn't it? And there's the guy from the Wax Museum. Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. That's the police killer Ottermole lookalike again. And he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you are all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse. With the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world, will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zieks. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being developed by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord. It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking. Ah, the whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field. I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. He reminds me of, not Nikola Tesla. Thomas Edison. Reminds me of Thomas Edison. So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible. What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert the accused instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What rot? Inventor in it, yeah. Order, order! Alright. The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant will be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Asmon's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. Whoop. No capes. Bailiff, show the first witnesses to the stand. Here we got, Lord Harebrain and Gregson. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Wyatt Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the following investigation. Albert Harebrain, scientist. You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years. Correct. Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany. I made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, alright. An incredible explosion. But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Yeah, everyone saw it. They must have done. Gourmet, what? They must have done, yes. There was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. That government in Germany, is it? Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensics investigation team. I slumber. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight through into it. Sorry, no through. I see. The German would say Germany. Oh, right. The bad acting, okay. I see. Very well, submit the photograph as evidence. Photograph of the victim. A photographic print of the victim taken after he had ostensibly been beamed to the Crystal Tower. It shows an apparent stab wound to the chest. As the courts heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Osmond. Still can't think of if there's a pun in that name or not. Odie Osmond? I'm trying to think. Say it fast. I think so. Odie Osmond. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being, he was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So, to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right. That must be it. My splendid machine. My poor, splendid machine. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simple, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? Sorry, me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. It was murder, plain and simple. Anyone could say that with complete certainty. What? How can he possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder. Alright, Gregson, let's go. Witness testimony. A front for murder. The corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury. A fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere. And this fella's the only one who could have done it. Interesting. He was fine though, wasn't he? An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Information I would really have liked to have heard from someone other than just a judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No. That couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something called the birdcage, ready to be beamed instantly. To the second level of the Crystal Tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Oof. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window. Oof. My word! One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident, a terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. Nope. Not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. Autopsy report. Autopsy reported the victim, Mr. Asmund. His neck was broken from the impact of a violent fall, and he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object. Terrible times, huh? I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. And the only other person on the stage with Mr. Asmund was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist. Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well. Counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Renosuke, let's go. We need to examine the court record. Time of death around 2:20 p.m. 21st October. Odi Asmund, male, 47, British. Cause of death: hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations: a broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. But the pierce was the kill then. And you can see it like there. So. Sorry. I'll see it there, huh? Just guess we can tab back and forth between everything, let it all play out once. Oh, sorry. So the corpse that went crashing into the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. Right. Get more info. Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly, which highlights something else about this whole rum business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. Ah! After the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. So although the experiment ended in a disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur. Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster? Okay, there's nothing from that one then. Made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That was my mistake. Okay. So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculate it yourself, personally? Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only, you got it wrong, didn't you? Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Asmund was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah. Crackling comets. The answer should have been 3. So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. So no extra information yet. Post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense. That's something to ask for, girl. Yep. Have you seen anything from the concert yet, Niddle? If you watch the bit from the concert when they all sing it with her and then Sana flies away at the end, that fucking kills me, huh? Not from the concert, from the from Sana's graduation. Yeah, they're all on stage singing it, and towards the end of the song, they're all in wee cars, and Sana starts to fly away, and as the song finishes, the wee car just disappears in the distance, huh? It's a very nice song, yeah, it's very cute. It's all about, like, it's like finding friends and finding, like, a community that you like type thing, you know, it's like, and feeling that you're not alone anymore. It's a very nice song. Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't think I had to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? You're right. Obviously, at first, we thought that bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that's not the case? You'll get your answer once I finish my fish and chips. If you don't keep buttoning every few seconds. But we all know it's a bottomless bag. The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that as the cause of death. Right. That's what we all thought. It was a red herring, wasn't it? No new information yet. There was a lesion in his chest where he clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart.
Hold it!
The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object? Among the accused tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. Is it that thing, that screwdriver that we found at the scene? The fucking A screwdriver, yeah. This. Oh yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it, Counts? Ah ha ha ha! There, he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew! Andrew, of course. Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends. Like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead. Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank. Ah, that doesn't... It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt. No. And that's not all. The long, sharp stape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. But... What? Excuse me. Order, order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. Screwdriver. Professor Harebrain's trusty screwdriver is named Andrew. There are traces of blood at the tip, and it matches the shape of the victim's wound. So one of Professor Harebrain's tools is the murder weapon. Great. Let's have a look at it. This is blood. Mr. Asmund, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. The A handle, yeah. I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. It could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. A metal screwdriver that was found poking through the grill in the base of what remains of the kinesis machine has a very distinctive handle. Extra information is extra information. Not much, but it's something. One of my Arkham mates playing Fallout New Vegas.
Hold it!
Press again. What grounds do you have for saying that? Ah, you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Asmund, and the accused, Professor Harebrain. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only somebody else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it. Oh.
Excuse me.
Nobody else could have done it, and he didn't like that time. Professor Harebrained, do you have some information that may be relevant here? One day we will. Yep. One day we shall, huh? Yep. Professor. Ah, sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body. And the witness stand is the best place for that. It seemed as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yes, that's right, of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yep, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know, but there's no way that I could have possibly have stabbed Mr. Aspen, as you say. Eh? Explain, please, Professor. Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through our veins. I had heard. Then surely you see, if I plunged something the size of Endra into a man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see, not one. True, I didn't see anything like that. Well done, Professor. It was a great counter-argument. Good. Yeah, a little blood should be obvious. Order! Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend Adusing. Adusing? Here's to you, Albert. Oh, you're too kind, Baroque. But I'm really not a patch on you. No, you're not. You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have to catch up on buckets and pools of blood tomorrow, though. Buckets of blood! Gotta snooze now. We'll probably only go for a little bit longer tonight because I want to get showered and I haven't had to stream, so. Yeah, only a little bit of stream left, but have a good night, Noodle. Love you. See you tomorrow. Buckets of blood. You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have? A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. If the weapon was left in the body, right? Ah, of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir. Where are they going with us? Very well. You will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. I assume Gregson's going to say if you leave the stab weapon in, then and you don't pull it out, the victim won't bleed as much. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. But we know it was found on the floor.
Objection.
You see that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? No. There was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is that the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes, but about the screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine. I'm poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, now you're going to mention it. Yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear it wasn't such a thing. Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? Oh. What are you getting at? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. Ah. That's right. It should have been beamed across to the crystal tower along with Mr. Asman. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Ah. Ah! Order! Order! How do you explain this, Inspector? I don't... It looks as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. Yet the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred. Obviously, that should have been beamed to the destination as well. You. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it actually did take place. Greg's fine. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zieks is stumped. Was that harebrain? Do you have something to say, witness? Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency. What? Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Asman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations. Ah! Stop it! You're just putting yourself... You're digging your own grave, huh? What? What? It's something to do with its magnetic pull or something? I don't know. It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation. Just when I'd found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists. Very well. The defendant will testify again. Provide us with a scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. Is it a brand new testimony or just like an addition? No, brand new testimony. The inconsistency explained. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Asman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. He's just thinking himself. So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by the method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer. My great hypothesis holds, you see. He had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrain. Yes? There has to be something metal in this photo then, right? That's metal there, right? Metal on his glasses. That got transported. Looks like gold. Right, he's like a really rich guy, right? So, who said you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No, no, no. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Yes. Fire me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, so we're going to try presenting the picture then when he talks about the metal. We'll try and, like, nail him immediately. Research. Fine. My hypothesis states that the kinesis cannot transport metal. Right, that's false, right?
Objection.
There we go. Professor Harebrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Spot on, exactly correct. In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Osmond is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. What? Metal? No. Metal can't. That's not... metal? No! We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should have also predicted that the metal-rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place. Ah! My hypothesis! My hypothesis! Professor Harebrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed. Ah! Order! 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 Counsel, what is the implication of this? If on the day in question the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis is so sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work. If I could say something here in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, sure, number 4. Go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science. What? Wait, great Scott! Are you suggesting my science is suspect? It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you this man is a bounder and a fraud. I say the records of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined. No, never. That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis. It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What the devil's that blasted act all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule? I don't like the way this is seeming to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor?
Objection.
Professor Harebrain is yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes? But even so, what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public? He would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing. Well, the grant money, probably.
Objection.
That's probably what Van Ziek's going to say, wanted the grant money. He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. Ah! If the government was foolish enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have each received a handsome sum indeed. Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? £10? You're an order of magnitude out, madam. £500 a year. Oh, you could live on some of that much for years. The Society noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently, and plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of that funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you. Not looking well. No. I haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound, the science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection.
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, The fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success. Ah, Barok. And therefore, the only person who could possibly have committed this murder is the accused. Ah, Barok. Where's this heading? I have no idea. My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zooks. The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What would be the nature of their involvement? Maybe Gina or Tuspels? Maybe just... That's the only other two characters we've had so far. They were spectators of the demonstration at this exhibition, who were occupying special seats. Probably new characters then. Eyewitnesses? Very well. The court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. The prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no pastiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend. Oh, yes? It's time for you to make your own stance clear. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. Oh. Oh. Perfect timing, huh? On 3rd of October, 10:44 AM, the Old Bailey defendants anti-shiver. But that's where we're going to leave it for today. I'm going to go get a shower and get cozy. One of those nights, eh? Sadie needed calming? You missed it. What'd you miss? Me pulling him up on something? Ah, sure. You can see in the vulture. The last little bit. We talked about how the yeah, we pointed out the metal thing and that his hypothesis was fake. They still insist that the experiment was a success, so he was the only one who could have killed him. And now Van Zieks is going to bring out some witnesses to the actual experiment, who I assume are going to be new characters, because the only other characters from this adventure so far have been Gina and Madame Tuspels. I don't think it'll be either of those. So I assume it's going to be some new characters. So they're just taking a 20-minute recess until they can go get the people. So that's what we're going to leave for today. Yeah, new characters are always fun. You know, it's fun finding new voices. The character designs are always great, and it's fun having fun with them. So tomorrow we will have our last stream for A Plague Tale: Innocence. And then on Wednesday we're going to start Scorn. I've heard mixed things about Scorn, actually. But it's apparently not that long, so even if it is not that great, I'm not playing it for too long, and it'll at least look great the entire time. So we'll see. And I'm not paying. It's on Game Pass PC, so it's not as if I'm paying it. You avoid it like the plague because it looks shit, or any other reason. Like I said, it's on Game Pass and PC, so it's not as if I'm paying any extra money for it. So if it's bad, it's bad. But I love the visual style of it. But if the gameplay is boring as sin, then at least it'll look nice. So because you're playing it. Oh, it was very kind. We'll check it out this week then, and maybe 2 or 3 streams. We'll see what it does. But yes, have a lovely night, Farrell. Hope City's okay. And yeah, we're back tomorrow with Plague Tale. Finish that off. So yeah, it's a weird looking one. We'll chat more about it tomorrow. I'm sure if we beat Plague Tale. So have a good night, my friend. I'll see you later on. Good night. Bye bye.